Hi, I'm Dan Gable with Shore Murphy and Associates of KZ, and this is another episode of Big Agent in a Small Town. If you own an auto repair shop or are looking to open an auto repair shop, there are definitely some insurance coverages that it's very important for you to have for your business. And today I'm going to give a brief overview of those coverages and a brief explanation of each as well. The first coverage I would consider the most important is liability coverage. We always think of the obvious thing is if someone slips and falls or your premises gets hurt or those kind of liability claims. But also just as important, if not more important, is going to be the coverage for what's called either broad form products or products in completed operations. And what this means is if there was an error in your work which caused damage to a car, or this is where that coverage can come in. So the most common example is let's say that you make an error on an oil change and a car leaks oil and the engine blows. The coverage for that blown engine would come from the products and completed operations or broad form products coverage. Next is commercial auto, and this obviously will cover any vehicles that you own for the business. So if you have a vehicle you use to run on errands, get parts, things like that. Also, just as importantly, it's going to cover a liability coverage for your customers' cars that you're either driving and parking or test driving, where if you got into an accident, it was your fault and you caused bodily injury or property damage, you'd have liability from that. Higher to non-owned auto liability there as well too. Also going into that is Garage Keepers coverage. And what Garage Keepers covers is any damage to customers' cars that are in your care, custody, and control. So whether they're parked in a lot and they're damaged by a wind or hail, or somehow damaged while in your building, or if you're driving it and backed it into a pole, anything like that is going to be covered under Garage Keepers. One thing to keep in mind with Garage Keepers coverage is that is a per location coverage, meaning that if you have a lot across the street from your shop or catty-cornered from your shop, you want to make sure you have that location on for liability and Garage Keepers as well too, so you don't potentially have any claims issues in a Garage Keepers claim situation. Next up is commercial property coverage. So that would be coverage for your building if you own the building, as well as your business personal property either in the building as well too. You also want to make sure along with that you have coverage like business income and things like that as well too. If you had a large claim, would be out of business for a while. Another thing to address is coverage for employees' tools, whether the employees can carry their own coverage or will be covered under your policy. That's another thing I recommend. And plan that out ahead of time rather than trying to figure that out at claim time. Workers' comp is also extremely important. That will cover any injuries to employees while they are at work. So a good thing with workers' comp, it is coverage from $1 and covers medical and lost wages. So fairly self-explanatory there. The last one I'm going to throw in is cyber. If most places are taking credit card payments, so you have an exposure to personal information there, and you're most likely paying vendors and things online as well too, and there's a real exposure there as well too if you receive fraudulent invoices, things like that you pay off of. So cyber is a coverage more important than ever as well too. There also were other things to consider like employment practices liability and pollution coverages as well too. Like I said, this is more a general overview. I definitely recommend talking to an independent insurance agent about your specific business exposures, so they can help you find the best coverage for your business. I would love to discuss insurance for your auto repair shop with you. You can either call or text me at 217-932-2267 or email me at Dan, D-A-N, at Shore Murphy KZ, SHOREMURPHYCASEY.com. Thank you.